Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Municipality of Monroeville Zoning Hearing Board meeting for September 1st, 2021. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Oh, there we go. Sharon, roll call, please.
Mr. Rosapel,
Here.
Mr. Griziak,
Here.
Mr. D'Agostino,
Here.
Mr. Gatos,
Here.
Ms. Wilkins, Mr. Dice,
Here.
Mr. Weldon.
Here.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion on approval of last month's meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Under new business, Paul, if you would, please.
First item tonight, 21-19-A, Mark Wonderly. Applicant requests a variance from section 207.3 lot and yard requirements of the Monroeville zoning ordinance number 1443 as amended to construct a swimming pool that will be located in the front yard along Huntington Road. The property is located at 1926 Glencrest Drive, tax parcel 639P106 in the C1 Shopping Commercial Zoning District and is a corner lot.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Would you come forward, please? Would you sign in?
No.
State your name for the secretary.
Mark Wonderly.
Would you raise your right hand, please? You swear the testimony you're about to give this board tonight shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
State your case.
Okay, I mean, we just want to have the variance to put a pool in our yard. We don't have a backyard, so it's really the only place we have the option to put one.
Is that your house on the monitor, or is that the area where the pool would be
That is,
located?
yes, right there.
How big a pool you gonna put in?
We're gonna get as big as we can, but with still following, 10 feet from the street, 10 feet from the structure. So we haven't figured that part out of it yet. We didn't want to get too far into it until, we got approval to even put a pool in the yard.
Is there going to be any kind of deck around the pool?
No, it's gonna be above ground.
What about fencing?
We don't have a plan to put fencing in, but I mean, we're open to it if we need to put a fence up.
Is there children in the home?
Yes.
What age?
There's a 2-year-old and a 12-year-old.
Are there any plans down the road to put a deck around it at all, or?
Possibly, yes. If we were to put a deck, well, the picture's gone now, it would be the upper part of the yard.
You understand, if you put a deck, you may have to come back before us again.
Yeah.
Where would it be? Up toward the, there's the pictures up again. Up towards the sidewalk or?
Yeah, the deck would be on, closer to the sidewalk on that side of it.
Okay, any more from the board?
Are there hopes to install it this year?
They're so backed up right now that it's not happening this year now.
Gotcha.
Is there anybody from the audience wishing to speak on this? Seeing none, Paul, do we have anything on this? Any calls or anything?
I had one phone call from a resident in opposition. They wish to remain anonymous.
Okay. If anybody on the board have anything to add or ask?
The picture you have, the trampoline,
Mm-hmm.
is that staying?
That's gone.
That's gone.
Yeah, gone for years.
Okay.
The only thing I would recommend is just thinking about putting some type of fence around the pool because you have neighborhood kids.
Yeah, we
It's gonna be very enticing for teenagers or young kids around, and without any supervision, it's gonna be easy access to the pool. So I would highly recommend some type of fence to secure that.
Yeah, and like I said, we're definitely open to that. We're gonna get the removable steps just to, deter anybody. I mean, if they want to get in, they're gonna have to climb in at that point.
Your insurance company may also advise you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they we already spoke to them, and we just need a certain amount of personal liability to have a pool.
Okay, on 2119A, I have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a second.
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck to you.
Thank
Good luck.
you.
Paul, please.
Second item is 21-20-A, Ali Siddiqui. Applicant requests a variance from section 210 fences of the Monroeville zoning ordinance number 1443 as amended to construct a 6-foot tall solid fence in the front yard of the property that faces Miller Avenue. Property address is 1725 Miller Avenue, tax parcel 640E98, and is a through lot in the R2 one-family residential zoning district. Through lot means that it has 2 front yards, one in the front and one in the back. So it has 2 side yards, 2 front yards.
Okay. Is the applicant present? Yes. Come forward, please. You sign in. State your name to the secretary.
Ali Siddiqui.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear the evidence, testimony you're about to give this board this evening shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your case.
So, I actually have,
Sir, can you stand in front of the microphone, please?
okay. I have German Shepherd dogs, and sometimes I put them out with a long leash. But the neighbors around my houses, they have like small kids, even though they are pretty secured and everything. But they were concerned because the kids were playing, and sometimes, kids, they want to come and pet the dog and stuff. So with the consultation of all my neighbors and everybody, they actually suggested me to go for the fence, and that's the reason I'm requesting I can have a fence.
Okay, is that your presentation?
That's all.
Is that all you have?
Yeah.
Okay. Board?
What,
I mean, all other houses next to me, they have fence, and mine is like you can see front or back, it's pretty open, and
Could you put that picture back up on the camera, please? Can you, oh, he doesn't have it in front of him.
Can we get Paul to put the schematic, the
I
sketch?
think he's doing it right now.
Oh, there you go.
We're just gonna ask you to explain or show us.
So if you hold it right on this X,
Mhm.
there's a camera up above, it'll put it on the monitor for everybody to see. And this is the exhibit you submitted with your application.
So, this is basically,
Hold 1 second, sir. It's going to appear there, we think.
Can you bring that up on the monitor, Jared? There it is.
Needs to put the white paper where the.
Give him a second to zoom in on that.
Okay.
And you can adjust that paper on the table there to get it in the center of the monitor.
Okay, using your, you have a pen with you or anything? Or just your finger?
let me see.
There you go.
Okay,
All
here's
right.
the pen.
Show us where you're going to put that fence.
So, basically, I'm gonna put a fence from here all the way here to cover this side. This is gonna be open.
So is the sign on the right there where you started, is that a side door?
On this side, there's a side door, yes.
Okay, so that's where the dogs are gonna go in and out?
Yeah, that's, they can come out of this door or the main door in the front. But we usually let them out from the side door,
You have two dogs?
yes.
What type of fence, sir?
I was thinking about chain link fence.
I thought your application said solid fence. Do you want a 6-foot solid fence, or you?
No, I said chain link, I don't know, I was surprised to see the solid fence too. But chain link fence with an option to, put the strips inside so that, it can cover.
So you can block the view?
Yes,
Do you still want it to be 6 foot tall?
yes. I mean, German Shepherds, I don't think they're gonna jump, but it's when they see something like that, they try to stay away
Well, they wouldn't be
from.
able to jump the fence anyway if they're on a leash.
I'm sorry?
If they're on a leash in your yard, they
Yes.
won't be able to jump
Yeah,
the
they,
fence anyway.
yeah.
Are you gonna keep them on the leash when you have the fence in?
Well, when I'm with them, I'm gonna let them go so that they can play.
Okay.
I'm not gonna let them go unattended in the fence.
Hey, Paul, do you know is there any kind of a setback he has to have if he's bringing it right out to the front of the property? Does it have to be back so many feet from the road or anything? Or he's talking about bringing it the whole way down?
It can't be
No,
in the right.
I'm actually trying to put the fence, there's like utility pole, so it's gonna be in, not, the utility pole is gonna be outside, so
Outside.
the fence is gonna be after the utility pole.
Okay.
How far back is the utility pole from the road?
I would say it's about 2 to 3 feet.
I don't think I can figure it out.
Is the utility pole, is that on Miller Avenue or Miller Alley
Miller Avenue,
Avenue?
yeah.
Okay.
Here it is, marked on here. Sir, can you push that white sheet up? Where
This
they
one?
can, just cover that, yeah,
Yes.
because I think that shows the utility pole.
Yeah, this is the utility pole right here.
Okay.
All right, now you're gonna start the fence right back behind where that AC unit is? And go across? Yeah,
Uh, Just in the back of the building, from there to on both sides. So this is like my, you can say backyard, but it's basically front yard for me because that's where we come.
That's your driveway?
That's your
Yeah,
driveway.
driveway.
so you're gonna have a fence going across your driveway?
No.
No,
It's gonna
no,
be even with the house?
It's only going.
even with
That's
the
what I was
house.
asking.
Yes, sir.
He's gonna have it here, right? Going back even with the house.
So this is my house. This is the building.
Here's
So
his
it's gonna
house.
be here.
He's going around this way, all the way around.
So you're gonna start even with the house on the driveway side and go straight back to the backyard?
Yes,
Or to Miller Avenue?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
So the reason to have the fence the whole way around is just for space for the dogs to.
For my kids to play and for my dogs to play whenever, and for everybody else to feel safe.
Have you talked to your neighbors about it?
They are actually excited if I get the fence.
They're
I
excited for you to
spoke,
build the
even
fence?
my neighbor right across the street from me, they're gonna help me put it up with the fence and everything.
So you're gonna install it yourself?
Well, he installs it and I'm gonna help him. He has all the equipment and
So there's no fence up right now?
nothing.
So on the chain link, were you gonna put slats in there to make it opaque?
That's what I was thinking, yes.
Or do we have an issue as far as, don't we have something with being able to see into the yard?
Well, that
We had the
would
issue.
that would constitute a solid fence at that point.
So we've had issues in the past with people putting solid fences up real close to the property lines, and the neighbors just take issue with it because it just blocks views.
I mean, whatever I'm doing is with the consultation of my neighbors. So I'm not trying to offend anybody or anything. So if that's gonna be issue, we can talk about it.
Well, it's definitely an issue for safety reasons. It has to be visible in case of an emergency vehicle has to get in there. They have to see where they're going. You can't have a solid fence built up. If you want to put the slats through, that constitutes a solid fence. That's what we're telling you.
I
If you
mean-
want to put a cyclone fence up, there's a possibility you can do that, but you can't close it in. You can't enclose it technically.
Or you could insert the slats every other space
Yeah,
so that it's 50%.
I can do that. I mean, that's a possibility, yes. If that's what you want, then I will do it like that.
From the, all get anything to guess.
I'm gonna get to that when he's done. Is there anybody in the audience that has anything to say about this, gentlemen? Want to come forward?
He's sworn in. He's already sworn in.
Yeah, You've already been sworn in to testify
Yes,
tonight.
my daughter actually plays right by his house, so I'm all for the fence because I've seen his dogs. They're big, and they, German shepherds. They like to bark, and so, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Paul, we have anything on this?
Yeah, I received 2 phone calls, one in favor, one in opposition.
Okay, so they're moved. Any other questions from the board?
Is the fence gonna be, since it's chain link, is it gonna be just a gray? Is it gonna, or is it gonna be some sort of color to it?
Vinyl coated or?
You know,
I mean, is that important? I mean, if it is important, then whatever you guys approve, then that's what I'll
I think a lot of neighbors are concerned with the aesthetics of the neighborhood. Of if it's gonna be green, metal, or it's gonna be black. So that is something to
I was
consider.
thinking about chain link, and then, I mean, if we can paint it black or green if needed.
When you order the fence, you can get it coated so that it's different colors. Green and black are typically the most common.
Right.
It's like a plastic coating that's on the wires. You never have to paint it again. The third option is typically that galvanized metal. When you first put it in, it's very bright silver, and then over time it dulls to a gray.
Like I said, I was waiting for this and to get the approval, and then I was gonna actually shop for the color or things like that, but
It may help you tonight if you could help us understand what it's gonna look like when it's done.
of course, I will try to make it look, nice, because that's my house. So whatever is nice, that's what, I mean, if you think I should get the color coded one, I'll get that.
Sir, just a question, does the fence have to come out as far as you're showing it on your diagram towards Miller Lane?
I'm actually putting it close, not towards the, it's gonna be away from the Miller Avenue. So this pole is on my, I can say that that's on my property,
Okay.
but my fence is gonna be beyond that,
Closer to the house.
closer to the house, yes.
So approximately how many feet from the roadway to where the fence would be?
I would say about 4 feet.
4 feet. And that's permissible?
And the fence that I'm showing here is gonna be in line with the fence to my neighbor. So he has left the room in front of.
is it your neighbor to the left? If you're looking at from Miller Avenue, is it the one to the left?
That's the right. Left, sorry.
Okay.
If you are looking.
So that house has a fence around it right now? You said
It has a fence, and you cannot, like you were telling me, you should be able to see it. You cannot see anything in there. Like, it's solid fence, plus it has all sorts of, plants and everything, so, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, speaking of plants, another option is, you can put your fence and then you could plant hedges between.
That came into my mind too, yeah.
Because we don't have any regulation for vegetation. You could plant like privet hedges or something, and you can let those grow as high as the fence, and that'll essentially create a solid green wall for you.
Right, that's a good idea.
Okay, anything further from the board? Nothing from the audience, nothing from more from Paul?
Just
I'll
those two.
entertain a motion. On 2120A,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
approved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can leave. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Good luck.
Paul, please.
The final item tonight is 21-21-A, Carolyn Getzey. Applicant requests a variance from Table 201B, permitted uses, conditional uses, yard and area requirements of Monroeville zoning ordinance number 1443 as amended, to operate a bed and breakfast, which is a short-term rental. The business is currently being operated in violation of ordinance 1443. The property is located at 408 Franklin Heights Drive, tax parcel 855A-44, in the R2 one-family residential zoning district.
Thank you, Paul. I guess the applicant's present.
Yes, sir.
Would you raise your right hand, please? You swear the testimony you're about to give this board this evening shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Present your case, please.
Okay, I have,
Could you
Yeah.
state your name, please?
oh, sure, Carolyn Getzey.
Thank you.
Okay. I just want to cover a couple things real quick, and I won't take long, but just as way of background. I want to tell you about me and the house, tell you about the Airbnb and why we picked that as our booking agent, and then a little bit about what I think we need to address to be in compliance with the variance. Okay, so first of all, I'm sorry for the mix-up. I didn't realize that we needed to do this. We've been in this house since '65 when we built it. So never bought it. I lived there. I grew up there. And then when my parents passed away, my aunt moved in. And when she left, we were trying to keep the house because my son wants to live there, but he's still paying student loans, so he can't. So this was a way to recoup some money, not not a big business out of, but just enough to pay for the taxes and the utilities. So that's why we started to do it. So we maintain the property, we do the yard work, we do the building upkeep, we're there a lot. We have neighbors that live there that I've known for a long time, we're good friends with. And as a sign of good faith, after receiving the letter saying we shouldn't do this anymore, I closed all the possible bookings and shut it off so that nobody could book after we got the letter. About Airbnb, so they have very strict rules about how to protect the guest and to protect the host. So they don't want anyone to know where you live before they book and pay. They don't want me to know the name of the possible guest that's coming. They just want to keep it anonymous, although they've already vetted the people before they're allowed to book. They already have verified their name, address, phone number, and emails and stuff. And so these people have been in their system, and they can then book a property through Airbnb. They also have a real strict rule against parties, and it even got more so with the COVID. And anybody who violates the no party rule, they can get their stay canceled, they can get kicked out of the house, they will not have a place to stay. You can say, you're done, you're out of my property, and you can never book with Airbnb again, and they'll close their account. So we've never had that problem. We don't allow pets. We check the references of each person. They have this thing called instant booking, which I don't do, which would let a guest book a property without me seeing them or seeing who they are or seeing their reviews or anything. And I won't do that because I want to see who they are and check their references. And we limit the number of people. People have asked to book to stay at the house that were more than what our house would hold. And we said, no, we can't do that to the neighbors. I can't do that. I personally meet each guest upon arrival. When they get to the house, I meet them and I, talk to them. I go over the rules. I say, this is the stuff. Don't mess with my neighbors. Be quiet and kind. I said, this is a great neighborhood. I love these neighbors. So, and that way I get a better handle on who's coming. And the other thing is we're not a destination venue like a beach. We're not a property that people come to stay at the property. They come to our house to go visit family. They come for weddings, funerals, Steeler games is a big one, stuff like that. So they're hardly even at the house. The last people I had a month ago, you couldn't even tell they were there. They had, the garbage was a couple of K-cups and a tea bag because they weren't even at the house much. So it's good for our neighbors and it's easy for me because they're not creating wear and tear on the house. Family events, yeah. Then they're pretty much families that come. So with all that in mind, then I wanted to address what I thought might be your concerns about this. And the complaints by neighbors, I understand there were no complaints at this house. And I haven't received any complaints myself. All our neighbors are very helpful and very supportive, and some of them even use the house when their family comes to town if they need to. And I always remind our guests to be considerate. Some of the kids that stay play with the neighbor kids, so there's a little thing going on there. In terms of late night activity or excessive noise, there is no late night activity, and I always meet them even if they come in late at night so that they're not fumbling around trying to get in the wrong house or something. I always open the front door, turn on the lights, stand out front, and meet the people that come late. In terms of traffic and excessive street parking, this house has 6 or 7 spaces that go down the driveway and around the back, so they don't need to park on the street. I always encourage them to use the driveway, and most of them do anyway, so there's no blockage of the street for people parking that stay there. Any changes to the existing house, there were none, except I added some security lighting in the back and a doorbell camera for security on the front. In terms of outside signs, there are no outside signs, which is also part of the Airbnb thing. It's to remain anonymous until the people who want to stay get there. So people on the street don't know who's coming, and these people don't know where I live until they pay the money to come as a guest. And then by that point, they must have agreed to the house rules, which pretty much say no parties, this is the limit of the number of people that can stay, obey these rules, and that's fine. In terms of traffic, because most of these people don't stay at the house, there really isn't any extra traffic. So, and we have less stays in the winter, not so many people are traveling then. So, and then in terms of our bookings, I went through and looked at our percent occupancy, whatever it is, and it runs around 22%. So 22% of the nights of the year are occupied. Most of it's on weekends like Friday night and Saturday night, and they leave Sunday morning. Checkout time is at 11, and check-in is around 4. So they'll come, I meet them, they go to the grocery store, whatever they need to do, and then they're out by 11 mostly on Sundays. And so they're very much on the weekend, and the rest of the week I don't have too much people there. So that's about 22% of the nights. So I think that's all I have for now. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
I'm going to ask you 2 quick questions.
Yeah,
How long have you been running this B&B?
4 years.
4 years. Now, why are you before us this evening?
Because I got a notice that I was in violation of the zoning requirements and the use requirements.
Okay.
The occupancy permit, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't even know we needed an occupancy permit because we lived in the house forever. It's always been us. It's never been sold or bought or anything. I just, didn't know.
But you live somewhere else now, you don't live in
Now
this
I
house?
do, right. When I got married, I moved. But my parents lived there till 2010. My aunt lived there from 10 to 15 when she moved into a nursing home.
Okay. Thank you.
How
Yeah.
close are you to the B&B, your residence?
Oh, my house, we're on Northern Pike, and this is on Franklin Heights, up behind Church of the Resurrection. So 7 minutes, and I can be there. I have neighbors that would be glad to go over in a heartbeat if I asked them. We're over there a lot to do laundry and clean and cut grass and all that stuff.
What are the limits on the number of guests you permit?
We have space for 7. 2 double beds, 3 singles, so that's it. People have wanted to bring 9. I'm like, no, sorry. And it's been pretty quiet. I mean, most of the people that stay hourly even can tell they were there.
Even the ones for Steeler games.
Well, they're gone to the games. I worry sometimes that they're gonna come home and get all excited and booze it up, but I've never had that problem. Yeah, even the Steelers, Pirates. Why would someone come for that, right?
Really?
I wasn't sure. Yeah.
Anybody else on the board have a question?
Now, Paul, as far as her not knowing, does it have to be registered now that it's?
If the variance is granted, Ms. Getzey will have to apply to the tax office to operate a business, get a business tax license.
So the extra taxes then?
Yes. And an annual inspection through the engineering department.
And what's involved in the inspection, Paul?
It would be similar to what we do for the apartment buildings and motels. Once a year, they go through, check for smoke alarm, smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, make sure it's relatively safe.
So if those items are not in there currently, they would have to be put in?
They are in
It
there.
would have to be brought up to code.
Yeah, we have a system where it automatically calls the fire company. We had a kitchen fire, not a kitchen fire, smoke, and the fire company was there before I even got there.
Is your insurance company aware of the
It's,
business?
yeah, it's listed as short-term rental with the insurance company.
Is there anybody in the audience that has anything to say about this or would like to bring information up? Come forward, sir. Over here, if you would, sign in and state your name.
My name is Mark Zavalo, Z-A-V-L-O-W.
Okay, would you raise your right hand, please? You swear the evidence and testimony you're about to give this board this evening shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your case.
We're a neighbor. We're 3 houses across the street on Franklin Heights Drive. Just a couple of notes before I tell you what our feelings are, my wife and myself and some others. We looked at her website. This is a woman that I've never met, so she says she knows her neighbors very well. We've been living there for 2 years. I've never met this lady. And the first time we met her was the day this letter arrived. And my mother-in-law was in the driveway, and she came into the driveway to sort of get our vote or tell us what's going on. And this is going to be happening. And then an hour later, we looked in the mailbox, and this was there. Never met her. Said we don't know her. Her website says that she welcomes people for longer than 28 days, which is considered long-term for Airbnb. She says she does short-term. She does short-term and long-term. Some other things were pretty troubling, besides not knowing the neighbors. We have children. Our children are 2 and 11. They play in the front yard. We did not know that this was going on. We moved. Coronavirus started in March 15th. We moved the first week of March and we arrived. We worked with Howard Hanna, residential street, residential home, residential block. That's what we were told. That's what was advertised. There are 47 reviews on her website at airbnb.com. Airbnb, through their research, they found that 70% of people who stay at an Airbnb location, they leave a review. So mathematically, that would be 67 have stayed with her because there's 47 reviews and they estimate 70% leave reviews. She has had groups of 7, that's correct. She limits it to 7 and there's groups of 7. That's hundreds of strangers staying on our block with our 2-year-old and our 11-year-old who shoots baskets in the driveway. Our 2-year-old plays on our little car, and there are hundreds and hundreds of people on our block. And we didn't even know this was happening. We moved to a block where this wasn't happening. We could have moved to Hampton Inn neighborhood, but we didn't. We moved to Franklin Heights Drive. The vetting process, I did not hear anything about sex offenders and criminals being vetted. And that's troubling to us, because I know that if you live in a neighborhood and there's a sex offender, you're told about it, or somehow you find out about it, or it's brought to your attention that they live in a certain home. Hundreds and hundreds of people are staying across the street with someone making income by this, and we're not on an income-bearing street. In Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court states, quote, Airbnb-type rentals are against residential zoning laws. That's the law. So that's clear cut. And we all know that. And this applicant has been breaking the zoning laws and the codes for years. She should not be rewarded by her behavior with being granted this variance. It's simple. It's the rules. It's the law. We live on a residential block. It's nice to have 2 friends over for a week, and you can do that, but you can't have a business in and out with hundreds and hundreds of people coming from all around the country, all around the world. That's not the block we moved to. That's not the block we want to live on. And that's not where we want our children to play in the front yard. That's what I have to say.
Okay.
Okay, you mentioned your wife is here.
She's right here.
Do you want to put her name on the record?
Sure.
Give her name to the secretary also, please.
Could you state her name, please?
Her name is Anita, A-N-I-T-A, Zablow, Z-A-B-L-O-W. We feel strongly about this. When we moved to this block, we had someone showing us homes, and this was a residential block. We used to live in the city, and we moved here. We lived in Pittsburgh, we moved here, and we understand zoning, we understand all that. And this was a huge surprise to us. And the first time we heard of her was an hour before this was in our mailbox. So I would like this variance not to be granted.
Okay.
And this business to discontinue, besides the
Thank you for
fact
your
that
input.
no one else knew about it and it's illegal.
Okay. Thank you for your input. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir.
Is there anybody else that wishes to speak?
I had a question.
Ma'am, I'll let you rebut.
For him. Okay, that's fine.
When they're done, you can
Thanks,
come back
that's
up.
fine.
State your name and sign in, please.
Dennis Emmert, E-M-E-R-T.
Would you raise your right hand? You swear the testimony you're about to give this board this evening shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. I live right next door to Carolyn's house. And the first thing I have to say, there have not ever been hundreds and hundreds of people there in the 4 years or however long it's been. There's been, most of the time there's nobody there. Sometimes there's 4 or 5, and the people have been super friendly. There's a deck off the back, and it's into my driveway, and the people are always friendly and nice and polite, and I, have not seen one bit of problem in the amount of time that this rental process has been going on. And just wanted to say that I don't see any of the things that he's, saying about. There's been people there, but they've always been very accommodating, very friendly. It's just like having neighbors again.
Okay.
Just wanted to.
Thank you for your input. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak? Come forward, please. Sign in. State your name to the secretary.
Mary Thorne, Thorn.
You raise your right hand, please. You swear the testimony you're about to give this board this evening shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Go ahead.
yes. Carolyn, this is a home that this house, this location is dear to her. This is where she grew up. She is trying to preserve this house and the neighborhood so that it is a safe place for her son to take over sooner than later. This would, from every time I live in the neighborhood, I walk that street frequently. If I'm not walking that street, I am driving that street. The only time I have ever noticed that someone, other than Carolyn is there, and usually she's the one there doing something to work or maintain the house, or her husband is there. I will see a car with an out-of-state plate in her driveway. The home is maintained, it's clean, it looks beautiful. It would be a home that I would be very happy to have them and just pick it up and move right next to me. I would like to see her granted the variance. This, as I said, she's planning to, at some point, turn this house over to her son, or to sell that house herself. So this is not going to be going on for many, I'm not saying that that's going to be here 20 years from now. This is not to be, I don't know what her time frame is, but this is not something she wants for the long term. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak? Come forward, please. Sign in and state your name for the secretary.
Chris Sims.
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 Thank you.
I also live right next
Would
door.
you raise your right hand, please?
No.
You swear the testimony you're about to give this board this evening shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I also live right next door to Carolyn's house. It's never been a problem. In fact, my mother passed away in January. She gave the house for free to my sister to stay. My sister came in from, sorry, I'm losing my voice. She came in from Maryland. She offered the house for free. There's never been a problem. These people have been very nice. These neighbors are new. They didn't know. Nobody knows. We know because we live there. There's never been a problem. We have 3 dogs. They come over, they pet the dogs. I mean, it's very friendly, it's very nice. I just don't get why somebody would say they don't want these people there. They don't know them. They're vetted. It doesn't make any sense that these people are against what she's doing. And again, she's not doing it for a long period of time. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thanks for your input. Anybody else in the audience wish to speak? Paul, do we have any input on this from outside?
Yes, Debbie DiLorenzo sent an email, and she's in favor of it. I received another email with 4 other household names on here, so, and they are in opposition to it.
All right, let's just remember how we get here. This use is not permitted in the zoning district that she's in right now.
Correct.
So she comes in and asks for a variance to get the approval from this board to permit her to use it in such a fashion. I've not heard any, correct me if I'm wrong, has anybody talked about a hardship yet? I have not heard any language or discussion about a hardship to the land that would require you granting someone permission to use property in contrary to what the zoning ordinance says. That's what she's asking you to do. So in your discussions or in your thought process, you have to keep that in mind. That's the state of the law. Unless she can prove she has a hardship, variances are generally not granted. That doesn't mean you can't grant it, it just means that's what the state of the law is.
Ms. Getzey would like to add more testimony.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Come back up
Up to the microphone, please.
I just wanted a clarification on hardship, like what you mean by hardship to the land, to the property or
Well,
to
that's
me? I wasn't sure.
That's really not a question that's necessarily properly asked of the board. That's something that you should know if you're coming before the board to seek a variance. But just to give you an idea, in order for you to establish a hardship, it has to be peculiar to the property that you have.
Okay,
That it's irregularly shaped, that it has a water, high transmission line running through it, that there's a steep slope, that there's some sort of fallacy with the land itself. It causes the property not to be able to be used as a residential development or residential home. I probably can conclude there are no hardships that meet those criteria because you've used it as a home. The use you're proposing, while it's a business use in a residential district, but it is consistent with having a home on the property for tenants. That's what hardship means under the zoning ordinance.
okay. I
It's not
appreciate
just just because it feels good or because you'd like to have it, that the zoning hearing board grants hardships. And they have to decide tonight whether or not they want to do that.
Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to ask, I understand that if this variance is granted, it's permanent for the property. Is there a way to make it temporary, just
No,
for,
no,
okay?
it's,
Or are there conditional variances or time-limited variances, or is there other ways to?
the answer to those questions are no, it's permanent.
Because I'm sure once my son moves in, he's not going to do this anymore. So that would be
Well,
like 5 years.
he could certainly abandon the use.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting into some areas that we're not really dealing with tonight, but if you're asking me whether or not this use could be abandoned, yes, it could. And it would take years to do that.
Okay.
When is your son planning on
He's
moving
got 4
into-
more years on his student loans, and then he'll be able to move in.
I'm sorry, how many?
4,
4?
4 years from now.
yes. And I just wanted to address that man there. I think he lives in the house where my friend grew up, and her mom had just died, and they sold the house, Mr. Zablow's property. And I was just stopping by to be friendly, not soliciting votes for this, nothing. That was not even the time frame that I recall when this letter came out, and then I was saying, hey, vote for me. That wasn't part of what I remember that conversation to be.
And
It
I
was a
may have
welcome to the neighbor
instigated
too.
that incident because I usually tell the applicants to talk to their neighbors before the meeting. Because when I send those letters out, they are very formal and a lot of people don't understand what's going on. So I
I don't
typically,
think anybody's moved by the fact that he got notice and he didn't know about it. I don't think any of that is really relevant to whether or not you're gonna grant a variance. So, I mean, we're
Well,
not
I
moved
just
by
kind of
that.
wanted to clear that
part
up
of the
then,
testimony.
because it's not the way I
That
operate.
wasn't all of his testimony, but
Yeah.
that part of the testimony doesn't move me.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else for me? No? Okay.
Thank you. Anything else from the board? Paul, you have anything further to add?
nope.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion on 2121A.
I think in lieu of the testimony and just the ordinance as it's stated, I'm going to make a motion to deny.
Motion to deny, is there a second?
I second.
Seconded, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
I abstain.
You abstain? Okay. Okay, the motion is against you. Okay.
You'll receive a notice from Paul, and it gives you an opportunity, if you choose to take an appeal from this decision. You have 30, I'll just tell you right now, it's
Yeah.
30 days from tonight.
Yeah.
But let him send you the notice, you decide what you'd like to do. The appeals to the Court of Common Pleas, and his notice will be more expansive than what I'm telling you right now, but at least you know that's the next step if you choose to take it.
Okay. I do
Okay.
have one question. I have several people that have made reservations that are planning to stay.
We can't hear you if you're not up
Oh,
with the
I'm
microphone.
sorry,
Microphone, please.
sorry. I do have several people that are planning to stay because I didn't cancel the bookings pending the outcome of this hearing. So I mean, I can cancel them, or I can say they can stay, and that'll be the end of it. They're people that have booked through the end of October.
I don't know what are you asking us?
I'm
for-
asking you what I should do. I mean,
Well, what to do is.
I'd like to give my opinion on that, too.
Hold up. What you should do is consult an attorney and find out whether or not they should or shouldn't stay there. I'm gonna suggest to you that you're gonna hear the answer that you should not use this use.
okay, that's fine.
In that fashion,
I will just tell them the zoning hearing board denied me and they can't stay.
that's fine.
I mean, that's the only thing I can do. Thanks.
You have something else you wanted to add, sir?
I don't think you need to say another word.
It's fine.
Okay. 2121A was a deny vote. That's done.
Yeah, just so that the record reflects, 3 noes, 1 abstention. Gary abstained.
That's correct.
Okay, there's only one thing left, but prior to me asking for one more, I'd just like to tell the people out in the audience out there, I've been having phone calls and problems with people with trash. Please, one night before your trash pickup, you put your trash out. You don't put it out a weekend before, you don't put it out 3 days before, you don't do it. We have people that ride around and you could get cited for it, and it can go up to $500 a day. And we don't have people that we can be putting out on the streets cleaning up your garbage that's been sitting out there for 3 days prior to your pickup. Please, if you have somebody that's doing this in your neighborhood, call your councilman, don't call me, please. I know, a lot of you called me because you know who I am. Please call your councilman, tell them what's going on, and they'll handle it. The municipality will handle it, because nobody wants somebody else's trash in their yards. I will entertain one more motion.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.